Well, I got another weird movie for you, but before I get to that, time once again to give a shout out to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. That's right, Squarespace, a leader in the web design industry for over 20 years. Whether you want to show off your interests, start a side hustle, or finally dive headfirst into that new business, Squarespace makes web design easy. Using their AI-powered website builder, you can make your own fully functional professional site. Just answer some simple questions about your personality and industry, and Design Intelligence will handle the rest, creating a completely customized site loaded with all the features you need. And if you change your mind and want to make some changes, Squarespace's Fluid Engine allows you to easily drag and drop elements, all without doing any coding. Plus, if you're trying to sell some products, whether they're handmade or digital, Squarespace has e-commerce tools built right in, as well as an intuitive inventory management system. So if you're somebody who wants to join the thousands of other people who've used Squarespace to make their dreams a reality, just go to squarespace.com/BrandonTenold or click the link in the description and sign up for your free trial. Then, when you're confident your site's ready for launch, use the promo code BrandonTenold for 10% off your first purchase. Alright, let's get into it. Well, I've done post-apocalyptic movies on this show before, but I think this is the first post-apocalyptic sports film I've ever done. Sure, there's post-apocalyptic flicks that deal with things like gladiator matches or car races, but I'm talking about the kind of movie where a ragtag group of underdogs overcomes the odds and becomes champions. Think Bad News Bears meets Mad Max. So, Mad News Bears? I don't know, just get to the title card. The Blood of Heroes is a 1989 Australian-American sci-fi flick that was the only directorial outing of David Webb Peoples, a screenwriter who worked on movies like Blade Runner, Lady Hawk, 12 Monkeys, and Unforgiven, which got him an Academy Award nomination for Best Screenplay. This was filmed near Coober Pedy, a town in the Australian desert famous for the fact that many of its structures are either built underground or in the size of caves due to the extreme heat. Smart thinking. If you're gonna film a post-apocalyptic sci-fi flick, you might as well film in a place that already looks the part. The original title of the movie is The Salute of the Jugger, but in North America it was changed to The Blood of Heroes, probably because they thought people in America would have no idea what the hell a jugger was, or they'd think it was some kind of Australian racial slur. Yeah, this used to be an Aus neighborhood till all these juggers moved in. I used a soft A instead of a hard R there. A lot of post-apocalyptic flicks begin with text explaining the world, but this one says that not only does no one know how they got here, but they also don't remember when juggers first played the game or how it came to be played with a dog skull. I don't know either, but I'm guessing it involved a lot of alcohol and a really annoying dog that wouldn't stop barking. The futuristic sport is just called the game, but the people who play it are called juggers who wander between towns in the wasteland challenging people to matches.
Jugger's coming! Jugger's coming! Jugger's coming! Jugger's coming!
Okay, again, even though I know it's not, that still really sounds like a slur. The juggers do not look happy. Instead of the Thunderdome, they gotta play this dump. This band of juggers are led by Sallow, played by Rutger Hauer, who's probably glad I'm spotlighting a better movie of his than Dracula 3D. Actually, this movie has a really good cast. We got Delroy Lindo, Joan Chen, Vincent D'Onofrio. Oh, sorry, Vincent Philip D'Onofrio. Most of the time when I do movies like this, there's just a bunch of Italian people in them. Alright, time to start the game. I have no idea what the rules are, but I'm assuming it's gonna end with somebody getting killed. Yep, that's probably a good guess. Jeez, this feels like I'm watching a lacrosse league if it was founded by Slipknot. I don't even know who's on what team. From what I can tell, the game is played by having one guy try to put a dog skull on a spike while everybody else tries to beat the shit out of each other.
100 stones! Done!
Okay, did somebody win?
You think you can last 15 or 20 stones?
Maybe, if I knew what the hell that meant. Anyway, one member of the village named Kidda, played by Joan Chen, has dreams of being a jugger herself, and decides to play against Sallow's team. Not sure why, seems like a bad idea where modern medicine doesn't exist anymore. Well, let's see how she does.
I'm gonna rip your tits up, bitch.
I'm gonna hurt your leg.
Alright, well she's gonna have to work on her shit talking, that's for sure. I think I'm starting to get the hang of this game a bit more. It seems to be a combination of rugby and American gladiators. Let's see if Kidda has what it takes to be a champion. Okay, guess not. Okay, Salo's team won, I think. Now it's time to celebrate. And guess how they do that? Yeah, that's right, post-apocalyptic polka. You know, I always wondered what it'd be like if the Star Wars Cantina Band played Burning Man. Well, you lost, kidda, but look on the bright side. Only one orbital bone collapsed. That's pretty good.
I'm going away, Mama.
Life is hard everywhere.
Good. I can win.
You know, I'm curious what exactly there is to win in this world. Do the top athletes get paid in dingo pelts or something? Not one to be deterred, Kidda leaves town and decides to follow the Juggers. And lucky for her, one of their team is injured. Well, I mean, pretty much everybody got injured, but he really got injured.
You're quick. It's ruined. Can't run anymore.
Yeah, that's right, I broke his leg just like I said, and he didn't even come close to ripping my tits off. Pussy. Eventually this guy does decide to stay behind. Well, probably for the best. He can join up with the Cantina Band and Mos Eisley and tell Luke Skywalker he doesn't like him. Kidda gets accepted onto the team, and it wouldn't be a sports movie without a training montage.
You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best.
Okay, that doesn't happen. Be funny if it did, though. And again, I'm not sure why she wants to join this team so bad. This is one sport where getting CTE would be the least of your problems. Anyway, on to the next town. Ooh, fresh lizard market. Hopefully this place has some candied funnel spiders too. I'll give this movie points for originality. It's not often you see a Mad Max-style inspirational sports film. It's like if George Miller directed Rudy. One thing's for sure, Sean Astin never had to go through anything this rough to prove himself. And hey, come on, kidda, just because it's a sports movie, you don't have to go full Mike Tyson here. Well, they won, so I guess she proved her worth on the team. We also learned that juggers that wander from town to town are basically in the minor leagues, and the real pros fight in underground cities populated by elites in a league called, The League. They're not too big on names in the future.
If he was in the league, why is he playing dog ranches in market towns now?
Yeah, well, a lot of athletes have that career path. You know, like when an MMA fighter gets too old for UFC, so they start doing bare-knuckle matches in a barn somewhere. I mean, hell, assuming he survived the apocalypse, Don Fry is probably fighting a kangaroo somewhere in this world. Besides, even if Salo's not in the big leagues anymore, he still gets groupies. Come on, who could resist a babe like this?
How is she?
Will you shut up and let me saw her?
Can I help? I want her to celebrate.
I can't tell if Rutger's character is supposed to be drunk or if he is. And it turns out there's a reason Salo's no longer in the league. He had an affair with an upper-class lady.
He was very public. He wasn't discreet. He insulted an overlord, a lover.
Oh, like when a football player gets caught banging a GM's wife. Classic mistake. Hey, time for another montage already? That means I get to do this.
The day is approaching to give it your best, and you've got to reach your prime. That's when you need to put yourself to the test and show us a passage of time. We're gonna need a montage. A sports training montage.
Even after the apocalypse, that song still works. We've already established that one of the perks of being a jugger is the groupies. Unfortunately, the pickings around here are a little slim. But hey, just because you're on the same team doesn't mean you can't engage in a little horseplay yourself. Yeah, Vince is about to show Joan his D'Onofrio face. Yeah, fuck you, I like that one. However, there's a bit of a problem, and it's not post-apocalyptic ED.
I told you, two juggers can't fuck after the game. Unless you like rubbing wounds against wounds.
Well, hey, I don't know. Some people are into that kind of thing. Well, we're about halfway through and I'm still not exactly sure what the rules of this game are. I don't even know what you'd have to do to get a foul here. Rutger Hauer even loses an eye. Now he's halfway to going full blind fury. On the plus side, though, he does still look pretty cool with one eye. Okay, at this point, some of you may be wondering, is the whole movie just going to be them moving from town to town playing bums? Well, I mentioned that Salo used to play in a professional league based in underground cities, and wandering teams can give a challenge to the city league for a chance to play them and potentially join. Kidda wants to issue a challenge, but some of the others are afraid they'll get hurt. And judging by what we've seen so far, they're probably right.
You think we can do it?
When?
Or at least go 100 stones, 3 times.
What the hell does that mean?
A tie.
Oh, okay, thank you. I do like a lot of the little touches shown here, like how things like gears and bolts are used as currency, or how the underground cities are so far underground that people actually have time to take naps on the elevator ride down. We also get glimpses that the upper classes who live underground have access to a higher level of technology than those on the surface. Not only is there electricity down here, but they get to feast on dog instead of lizards. These underground sections are almost giving me a Terry Gilliam movie vibe. I wonder, if you started in Brazil and dug a hole through the earth Bugs Bunny style, would you end up in Australia? Kidda also witnesses firsthand just how good the Juggers in the league are, although I gotta say, their uniforms are kinda reminding me of Rollerball, the remake, and that ain't good. Get a load of their names. Gonzo. Of course this guy's name is Gonzo. It was either that or Sporticus Erectus. And if you think I'm reaching by giving this guy a Mad Max name, this guy was in 2 Mad Max movies. Anyway, hopefully the rulers of the city accept their challenge. Okay, Vince, if you want to get something important, you don't want to come off too thirsty. Tone it down. Okay? The leaders of the city decide to postpone accepting Salo's challenge, probably because this guy recognizes him as the one who juggered his wife years ago.
What a stupid fool. For some woman.
He was young, very young.
He was an idiot!
Come on, man. You act like he's the first guy in history to ever make a bad decision because of his dick. There's pro athletes shelling out millions of dollars to some stripper they knocked up in Cleveland right now. Even though Gar's upset their challenge hasn't been accepted, Kidda seems a bit relieved.
You were right about how good they are. I never dreamed it could be played so fast or so hard.
My Twin Peaks audition is next week and I can't risk being dead for it. Never mind that though, time to get some shut-eye. I do like a lot of the world building here, like when Salo and Kidda get the post-apocalyptic version of a hotel room, which is just a hammock jutting out the side of a huge wall that they have to climb up several ladders to get to. Hopefully neither one of these two rolls over while they're asleep. This is one hotel where the penthouse suite should actually be less money. Another nice detail is when they show how the ruling elite live. Not only do they get to feast on some fresh Komodo dragon meat, but they even get some yummy insect hors d'oeuvres. One of the leaders decides to accept Salo's challenge, but he's got an ulterior motive for doing so.
He could lose that other eye easily enough. It's such a rough sport. Break his legs, too, for good measure.
You want me to damage him on purpose?
You mean you weren't trying to do that already? Besides the dog skull thing, it seems like that's the whole purpose of the game. Here's another Mad Max connection. This guy is played by Hugh Keyes Byrne, who was Toe Cutter in the original Mad Max and Immortan Joe in Fury Road. I don't know if he dies in this movie, but if he does, it better be by getting run over by something. By the way, his character's name is Lord Vile, which also sounds like the name of a Mad Max villain. Alright, it's a sports movie, sorta. So now it's time for the climactic match between the plucky underdog team against the evil corporate team. And in case you forgot what this movie's called...
I don't like brutality, I like heroics. I like the blood of heroes.
Title drop. For the American version, at least.
The blood of heroes.
And there it is again. Alright, Kidda, this is what you've been training for. Time to put those skills to good use.
Wanna kiss, little girl?
Yeah, come and kiss me. Fuck.
She still needs to work on her trash talking, though. Okay, guys, remember, we're supposed to damage them intentionally. No playing with kid gloves like we usually do. You know, this final game might have a bit more impact if it didn't actually look less brutal than the games we've already seen. Despite the league player's skills, though, Kidda has a surefire way for winning. That's right, play dirty. And despite being told to injure Salo on purpose, Gonzo just has another guy pin him for the whole round. I don't know if that counts as cheating or what, but it seems preferable to how the game usually goes.
You protected him, you asshole.
I'll do anything to win, but I never hurt a soul for any reason but to put a dog skull on a steak.
Well, good to know that you have principles. Gonzo. There's still a problem though. One of Salo's team is injured and can't play the next round. But no problem, just have the team coach sub in for her. It was either that or go the Air Bud route. Hey, there's no rule that says a dog can't be a jugger. In fact, I'm not sure if there's any rules with this game. I gotta give the actors credit, they apparently did their own stunts for this, and while I wasn't able to find any stats, I get the feeling people got hurt making this. Also, even though this is far from a typical sports movie, I think you know how this game is gonna end. Salo's team manages to beat the crap out of the league players, and Kidda gets to prove herself by triumphantly putting a dog skull on a pike. Wonder what their prize is gonna look like. Is it gonna be a trophy made out of old Foster's cans? Good game, fellas. Now let's all go out for morphine margaritas to try and dull the searing pain. Here's where the American version ends, on a pretty typical sports movie note with the underdog team winning, but you may notice that even though the credits are rolling, there's still scenes playing in the background. That's cause in the international Salute of the Jugger version, it keeps going. Kidda and Gar are accepted into the league, but the rest of them have to go back to the surface and spend their days wandering from town to town. I think I like that one better. It's not a completely unhappy ending, but it's more realistic in showing how younger athletes get better opportunities while older players get tossed aside once they're past their prime. And yes, I just used the word realistic to describe a post-apocalyptic movie about a sport where people beat the crap out of each other. Despite having a noteworthy cast and screenwriter, The Blood of Heroes was not a success, making less than $1 million at the box office against a budget of $10 million, and to date, it's David Webb Peoples' only outing as a director. However, it did inspire a real-life game called Jugger, although I'm assuming the real version is a lot less violent than the one from the movie. I appreciate that David Peoples tried something a little different here. It's not often you get an inspirational underdog sports movie in this type of setting. It's also got a strong cast and some neat bits of world building, but it's one of those movies I found more interesting than completely satisfying. I don't know, call me old-fashioned, but if I'm watching a Mad Max-style flick filmed in the Australian outback, I'd rather see car chases and shootouts than sports matches, no matter how rough they are. This still does have a lot going for it, and it's better produced than most movies of its type, but watching it, I couldn't help but think how much I'd rather be watching Rutger Hauer kicking ass in a more traditional post-apocalyptic flick. And now I can't help but wonder, if Jugger's a real sport, do they play it in Cooper Petty? I mean, it seems like the one place on Earth that would have a professional league. Well, maybe I'll have to go there one day and find out. Well, that's all for now. Until next time.
This is stupid. You should be fucking and drinking by now.